Demonstrate, the story of Rosario Nabuc. Come, little one, bring your drum. Sit cross-leg on your bum. Grab me rum, call me Nabuc. We'll speak in old dog tongue. And you, little moon dog, a Crazola. Now, my grand girl, you are Crazola, an ancient woman gazing from a ridge at a mammoth herd hunted by sith cats. Holding a birch basket of laundry cleaned by the sea. Every day you bathe, wash, and drink from fluids of the beautiful beasts. Tame and train the demons for your advantage. Demonstrate how they best do your bidding. I was born to a family of Cossack fishermen on the river Kuban off the Black Sea. This sea is inhospitable, stormy, vexing, and poisonous. The Black Sea is the only place where two strange things happen. Demonstrate is the gateway of east and west, where the salty ocean water mixes with the fresh water running down from the mountain steppes. The saltwater solution runs to this sea, sinks to the bottom and transforms into a new substance, neither salt nor water, but a sediment, sinking, and residing in the depths. The Black Sea is home to more shipwrecks and drowned sailors than any body of water. The drowned in their ships are covered in this unique sediment. The very few who have escaped from drowning all report the same thing. Her dead are preserved with such perfection they look alive. From their metallic war gear of the ancient men down to the fleshy egg whites of their eyes, they're vibrantly alive, but frozen in life's last posture. Lifelike as action figures preserved in plastic packaging. Now, the safest and most traveled route around the Black Sea is the coastline. But those reckless pilots, hoping to save time by crossing the depths directly, soon wish they'd heeded the words of the majority. Beyond the shore, the night grows black. Never a star is seen, and sea squalls rise. Mariners lose their course, lose sense of position and time, and are doomed to spin in circles. After many circles, the men pummel and sink in their self-generated wake. As a boy, the Kuban fishermen brought me along fishing. I chased scavenger birds and dragonflies, mangy cats, fighting over rotten fish funk. A boy always finds fun near a big river. One twilight hour where River Kuban meets Sister Sea, neither of the two old fishermen had a catch all day. We've not a catch all day there, hey? Give Lil Rose the pole. No, he's too young. Just let him have a cast. Too young. He'll lose hold of my pole. No, I said. Thus, we've not a catch all day there, hey? No, he'll drop my pole in the water. Just put bread on the hook. He'll never catch anything. Let him have a cast. The fisherman took a piece of rich black bread from his lunch basket and baited the hook. Just for you, even, Lil Rose. I'll even put on a little chunk of herring. The fisherman handed me the pole and strummed Russian sea ballads. I made the first cast, staring up at the men with a wide smile. Then I got a huge bite. Before I could close my mouth, I was ripped off the shore, vanishing under the water. Pulled out to the depths, I was tossed around by waves, 1 second high above the earth, then plunging into her very pit. My feet scraped the top of the sky. I hit the seafloor head first. The waves and wind made me dizzy as the seahorse. And I was tired, so I just died. Kaput. Before I opened my eyes, I heard birds and smelled the sea air. I burped up a lung of water and lay on the beach with the fishing pole and the great pike. 9 days later, a fisherman from Azov found me, carrying the fishing pole and lumping the pike 3/4 my size. Damn, a good day at sea, eh, boy? My first catch. Oh, he's a keeper. When I arrived home, walking past the rejoicing, the blessings and prayers, I walked over to the corner where my uncle's sea-rotted guitar stood. The music I played was beautiful, and the words healing. I learned all I know in 9 days. While all were happy to see me at home, things were different. I was different. My eyes, once dark brown and black as the river, were emerald aqueous green and custard clouds with metallic pupils. The blacks shone a mere quality. If I as much as suspect you are lying or devious, the blacks of the greens overwhelm the green, and the green the black, so my pupils are holes you will fall into, holes swallowing you whole. Now why the Soviet goons would grab 17-year-old me and my brother Leo, 14, from our villa on the River Kuban, cram us and 1,000 others into cow cars heading north, one couldn't imagine. I was on the train so long I'd given up figuring my location. Everything vanished in the winter snowskid. Where the southern Cossack sun once hung between cracks in the boards of the cow car now hung ice, the road near impassable with snow. We're held over and ordered off the cars so a few of the strong among us can chip away at the ice chunks impeding the wheels. It takes an hour just to unload in freezing cold. We're counted. We're beaten. We chip away the ice. We're counted and beaten again. Some men are left behind near dead, half frozen after chipping the wheels. Bodies left to eternal rest in permafrost. I see a sign. Kronstadt. The road leading to the camp is littered with bodies. Some lie frozen in blood and snow, others iced over, left to freeze to death, mumbling. Barbed wire and barking German shepherds and lines of prisoners wearing cabbage sacks. Now there is no doubt the goons wouldn't drag a train of men for over 15 hours unless it was to one final stop, where your life itself will likely stop. The Solovetsky Islands, the labor camp, where Stalin throws thousands of men a day beneath death's wheels in the building of canals, bridging northern Russia and Finland. Where Stalin hopes to surpass Hitler's Autobahn with his waterways dug bare hand from frozen earth. The German concentration camps didn't exist. Hardly anyone knew about the Russian prison labor camps, the Soviet labor camps. The end of the collective farming kulaks, established through 500 years of Tsarist dynasty, were being liquidated, along with 3/4 of the population for the communist gulag. And Uncle Joe lived to surpass Hitler's ingenuity, winning the contest of who could build the biggest monument of corpses. Pyramids, arenas of bodies, attempts to bury their fathers. Men, women, and children will surrender their lives for no reward, nor pay, nor bread, never peace, to create Joey's underwater mausoleum. If you want dirty details of the gulags, they're available. You find them yourself. Shortly after first meeting Viola, I met another person, the most interesting man I ever met. The Bull, they called him. He had an amazing smile, a maze of broken teeth through which he never really learned to speak. Enormous, the largest man I've seen in life or photographs. The Bull, a man so far from so deep in the Siberian wilderness, his features and demeanor were proto-human. The Bull didn't have a forehead. Like the Chinese Eskimo from the northernmost posts, his entire head, neck, and chest were covered in black puma hair. Slick as a wet fish, his ears and nostrils, his back, and his ass were lined with fur. He couldn't have been 30. Bull was best at work. Man, could he work. I learned he was the priority nuisance of the guards at Solovetsky. His deathlessness was the nuisance. Indefatigable? Indefatigable? That's a word for mere mortals. Bull was beaten so many times it never phased his work or his work output. Finally, the guards decided to stop trying to kill him and just let him work. Eventually, he was an exhibit for visiting brass. Bull, my brother, and Leo, and me, we worked ridding the camp of bodies. The work quota and the ration system, they were the same for all the work groups, whichever position you held, whether you were a cook or an undertaker or a digger. Rations include rotten horse carcass, lubricating grease, frozen murky soup of fish heads, bad turnips, and millet grains. This is the work quota. If you meet 100% of your work quota, you get a regular ration. Any more, you get a regular ration plus 28 ounces of bread. 1 degree less than the 100% work quota, you get 10 ounces of bread or no food for the day. Nutrition, housing, clothing, linen, baths are granted only on making or exceeding the work quota. And the Zeeks, they were the worst. They were worse than the overseers. They worked the horses to death, driving them exhausted but alive over the gorge to die. They made women in the work chain lift big rocks on the wagons. The beefy woman humps the rocks quickly. The thin woman can't lift the rock. She's beaten. Next woman can't lift the rock either. Both women are shot. The watchtower men, they can beat, choke with steel blocks, wrenches, pliers, yelling, "You're lucky we didn't just shoot you. Did you see what we just did to those last two bitches?" Ha! A long while later, Leo and I achieved a certain seniority. Given the opportunity to stay off the working crews in the cold to become tenured undertakers. And the Soviet winter of 41 was one of the worst ever. And many people about the Russian winter, partly responsible for the defeat of Napoleon, the Soviet winter for the defeat of Hitler. The winter of 41 was the coldest winter in centuries. The coldest days in the Gulag, frozen bodies running overtime for us undertakers. We performed the death inspection on everybody. The death inspection. Make sure they're dead before you bury them. You make a vertical cut from the neck to the crotch. Break legs, part skulls at the seam, bayonet to make sure they're really dead. At first the dead and some near dead are hauled off on sledges and carts, hands and legs tied to stop the flopping arms into pits of graves dug by hand. But there are too many. Too many bodies. Too many bodies. Mass graves were in high demand, no matter the human cost, and soon those filled up. We stacked the bodies in caves, counting the weeks it took to fill the caves, entombing them forever. The weeks it took to fill the cave turned to days. We built bigger caves. The first level of the bodies they were the obvious dead. The elderly, the sick, the starved, and the overworked. By Tuesday or Wednesday, the second level of bodies would be tossed in. These were the immediately terminal, who were spared starvation or exhaustion and received mercy bullets or near-death beatings. Many mercy bullets only nicked. By Thursday were piled the bodies of the disobedient, all of whom were still alive. Dissenters of the Soviet cause, purposely left alive to receive a most dishonorable death. Yes, the work was cruel. I was permitted 1 injury leave when I dislocated my shoulder. I loved it. After months of blackness, I didn't see darkness for weeks, on which the Solovetsky Islands is a wonderful sight. I turned the constant light in my sleep deprivation cell into my illuminated ice house when I had my vision. The only way to get beyond the barracks was to die. The trick, the real ruse to death's labyrinth, was not to get stuck at the bottom of the cave with the first level of bodies 20 feet underground. Leo, then Bull, accepted my escape plan. Leo and I realized Bull was immune to infection. His wounds quickly healed themselves without any cleanser. It wasn't just the scurvy and disease, nor the lice or the maggots who gave up trying to kill Bull. Bull exhaled anti-allergens that made green ripe mildew blush. Bull's digestive system was legendary. I mean, the envy of scavengers. From rotten spring meat to wild April berries that would have poisoned the rest of us, Bull ate. Bull ate, and Bull worked, and Bull ate anything, and Bull worked. He knew how to listen. First to his body, he knew when he needed calcium, so he might wrestle a reindeer, break the antler, and suckle. When he needed protein, he sucked it straight from the necks of wild fowl. He gathered vitamin D through his eyeballs. Bull, he had innards of iron. He shit turds of steel. Rumor said Bull was in the gulag for practicing witchcraft, a very, very common cause among the Soviet paranoia goons. A common charge for lots, especially in the wild northern country. Black magic, death-defying balderdash. Word said he was a leftover from World War I, which I think he was. Released from an Austrian POW camp after they couldn't kill him, and returned to Russia in time for the Soviet Revolution to have a crack at him. One morning, though, they walked Bull and over 100 others out to the sea to drown. Forced them to keep walking at bayonet point deeper and deeper into the water. Yeah, well,